thought today I would do another tutorial on ClickTeam Fusion. This is like my favorite development software. But like there are better ones like Unity and Unreal, and I think with those my biggest issue is that I just like to do it for fun. So like I enjoy coding, but when it comes to like, oh, I have an idea and I want to make it right now, this is the fastest way. And like this is the fastest way with those same like broadness, I guess. Like if you want to make like an inventory system, you can basically make any game you want in this. It just matters how you do it, because it's a lot. It's like sometimes it can be a little harder, but also easier at the same time. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So up here, if you're new to ClickTeam, up here you got new and then open. Obviously, new just creates a new folder for your game, and then opening a already saved session, I guess. We're gonna go and create a new one. So you see application 1, so this is just the name of our game, and then you got frame 1. So frames are like where the game lives. So you could have like, oh yeah, frame 1 is the main menu. That's like the main menu where you start the game. And then you have frame 2, which is the actual like first level, and then frame 3, second level, and so on. And so we're going to jump into here, so you can click right here, and we're now presented with the grid. So on here we can actually right click, insert object, and insert a new active object. So active objects are just your sprites. So we can go ahead and name this one player 1. There we go. And I think the thing with ClickTeam that makes it a lot easier is just because it's so simple. It doesn't like add a whole bunch of stuff. You can make a very easy, simple game very quickly. And so like, let's say, okay, we want to make this different. We want to fucking put a face on it. So we can actually kind of just go ahead and right click on it again. And then we're able to come into here and maybe draw a little face on our guy. Look at that. And there he is. And so now that we had the player, let's try and run it. So in here you got global values, global strings. So we don't really have any right now. But I'm pressing all the keys and you can tell I can't move. And that's because we need to left click on him. And over here we have the properties. So properties are just like things like display options. So visible at start, save the background, transparent. You can add effects on them. So little blending effects, which will come in handy for another tutorial. But yeah, there's a lot of options in here. Each active object can have variable strings and values. So we can name this HP and set his HP to 100. Okay, so none of this will actually do anything at the moment. So we're gonna head over to this little movement icon, and we can change this to whatever type of movement we want. So we got 8 directions, mouse controlled path, blah 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 blah, all of these. And they're kind of self-explanatory. You got bouncing ball, path, so he just follows like a node path. Mouse control, 8 directions, race car, platform. So I like 8 directions the most. And we're gonna change the speed down to 15, and that'll be fine. We can actually test it right now. So there he is. The little guy's moving. That's a little too slow for me, so I'll say 25. Yeah, it's a little bit better. So now we can make him moving. So something that always annoyed me was that you had to use the arrow keys, because it's 2022. We don't use the arrow keys to play games anymore. So keyboard. Okay, let me go back. Let me slow down. So left click up here on the application. And then you'll see the same properties window. These are a little bit different. We'll go over those in a second. But if you go over to runtime options, scroll all the way down to the bottom, players, default controls, and then you can see you can add controllers. We can also just keep everybody to the keyboard. And so we can change up arrow to W, down to S, left, right. And then we have all these other buttons too, but I don't really ever change those. So yeah, so now we should be able to run it again, and we can use WASD. So now that we have our player and he moves, why don't we add an enemy? Go and add another active object. Enemy 1. Go and color him red. Put a little angry face on him. He's bad guy. Yeah, there he is. We'll go ahead and come down here to our values again, and we'll go ahead and set his HP as well. Alright, now that we have our player and an enemy, we can head over here to the event editor. Just these like I guess column and rows up here. So click on that. Now you're brought to the actual coding of it all. So now we can actually go into here and make things happen. So first things first, what we'll do is we'll compare the values. So we can go into new condition, player 1, and then come down here to alterable values, compare one of the values, HP is equal to 0. So with this, if you are like me and a little slow, okay, you want it to be for like health. Obviously, if you are at 0, you're dead. If you're 0 or lower, you are dead. So you kind of have to make sure that you do lower or equal to 0. So now if this says that if the player 1, if his health is lower or equal to 0, something will happen. And we put the something over here. So you can find player 1, click right here, right click, and whenever his health is 0, we'll just destroy. So we'll just get rid of him, just delete him. And then we can actually just copy paste, and we can just set the same thing because they both have the same HP values. At least I think so. I think I actually made this one. Wait. It capitalizes it for some reason. That's really wonky. But yeah, since they both have HP, we can just copy, paste, bam, bam. So now we can come in here and see we both can slide right through each other, and yeah. So we actually need to add movement for the enemy. So we come back over here, and then bouncy ball movement is generally what's the easiest to go with. We'll change that to 25, change this to 50, and yeah. So we'll go ahead and run that. Oh, maybe it was the deceleration. Maybe I fucked it. There we go. So, what we forgot to do was, since it has the bouncing ball movement, it's just gonna bounce wherever the fuck it goes. So, since there's nothing for it to bounce off of, it can just fly right out the the entire screen. So we need to come into here and actually go left click on our enemy, test position of the enemy. If the enemy hits anywhere on the outside, so if he tries to leave the play area, we'll just say movement, we'll bounce him off. Now if we run it, goes down here, bam, 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 bam. Yeah, so now he'll bounce around. So how are we gonna make him actually attack us? For simplicity's sake, we'll just have it, if he hits us, we get hurt. So we can just come over here, left click on our player, collisions with another object, the enemy, and we're gonna go down here to alterable values, subtract from HP, and we can do this plenty of different ways. So the simplest is to just say, okay, if he gets hit, take 5 off. But the issue that you can kind of see with that is that there's no difference to say, oh, if, like, there's no difference between 5 and 6 in that case. Because if you were to say that, okay, if he gets hit, take 5 off, it's no different than saying, if he gets hit, take 6 off. Because he'll roughly die at the same amount of time. So I'm actually going to make this a random range, and we'll say between 5 and 15. So it'll just pick a random number between 5 and 15, and the player will be damaged for that much. So collisions between player and enemy, bam, bam, bam. Let's see if this actually works. So he'll bounce, and we can actually check our values. We click on this little debugger options, and we can see the values of the player and the enemy. So you can see now, if I move, you can see the X and Y change up here. And so we can actually go to his value. So my health right now is at 81. So if I get hit a couple more times, you can see it keeps going down. Come on, kill me. 26, 11, 1. Okay, dead. So you can see our player got destroyed just like we wanted him to. So now we need a way to kill the enemy. So we can actually just copy this same thing. Copy it on over, because they both have the same similar stuff. And we don't want to just hit the enemy, because then you're kind of just like tapping into each other. What's the fun in that? So we're actually going to over here, we're going to add another object, another active object, and we're going to make this one pretty small. Actually, we're going to make this one about this big. That seems good. Come in here, and we'll just make it a big old circle. Or no, you know what we'll do? We'll be classy about it. There you go. Nice little bullet shape. So we can just make our little bullet. Looks so stupid. But so now that we have this little bullet, we can go and rename it. We can say collisions between the bullet and the enemy, and then subtract enemy health. And it actually, if we don't do this, what will happen if we just left it how it is right now, then it'll hit the enemy and fly right through him, which kind of fucking, I mean, depends on how much you want it to fly through. If you want to do something like a collateral or something, but in our case, we're just gonna, whenever it collides with the enemy, we're going to subtract health from the enemy and destroy the bullet. So let's run this, and nothing's happening. Yeah, it's because we didn't fucking make a way to shoot the bullet. So new condition, right click, and we're going to go to, oh, I'm an idiot. New condition, mouse, user clicks, or we can do repeat while mouse is pressed. We'll do repeat while mouse is pressed. So while left mouse key is pressed, player launch an object, bullet, and in direction of, and we can actually make this, if we wanted to technically, just in the direction of the enemy, so we actually don't even need to aim. And go and run this. And there you go. So that's obviously too easy. So same thing with the HP. There's a lot of different ways to do this, and it just kind of depends on what is best for you. So you can see whenever we're in here, you can use the direction of the player. So the player, even though on ours doesn't have any directional sense if you can't like see it, but like if you press W, he'll be facing up. If you press S, he'll be facing down, you know, and vice versa. So we can do that way. We can do in selected directions. So if you wanted to always shoot right, left, up, or down, and diagonal stuff, you can do that. Or what I prefer to do is actually make a mouse object. So I actually like to come up here, and we're just gonna make a little cursor and make a nice little dot like that, and give this a name, mouse. So come over here, we can make a new special condition saying always set the position. So position, set X coordinate. So set the X coordinate of the little mouse object we just made to the, where is it? Oh yeah, X position of the mouse. So set the X position to the X position of the mouse, and then set the Y position to Y mouse. So this will always follow the position of the mouse, and then we can actually go to and hide the mouse pointer, so it'll always just show us that one. And then we can come over here again and say launch in direction of this little mouse object. If I can click on it, there we go. So it'll launch to the mouse object. Run this. Then I'll see we got our little mouse. We can blast them. I'm actually going to replace this. Make it a little bit more normal. So, see, now we can, if I can fucking aim. There you go. So if you look, our bullets all face the same direction. So what we can do actually to make that look a little bit nicer is just come over here, and you see this little slider down here. We can boost the slider all the way up because it's a bullet, so we're just going to be shooting it in all types of directions. So, and create rotated directions. So now if we scroll through all that, it looks a little wonky, but with how fast it's going, you won't really be able to notice. And so yeah, so now we got all directions. We can actually come back into the game. When we just added that in, we didn't have to code anything. And there you go. Now they all face a nice direction of where they're being shot. There you go. So now I think that's everything. I think that'll help y'all get started. If you enjoyed this, smash the like button. Especially since I never see any tutorials how to use this fucking thing. So I would like to help you on your journey and just teach you what the fuck I can help you with, whatever. But Okay. Thanks, guys. See you later.